Doctor, what did you ask?
No, I didn't ask anything. I'm just saying that we're starting the course proper as of today. Last time was a class indeed, but it was all introductory. I introduced you to the course calendar, and how we're starting. And then I spoke about the difference between children's literature and mainstream non-children's literature. Spoke about the features that distinguish children's literature from other forms of literature. Spoke about your experiences, whether you perhaps write children's literature, you have read children's literature, or this kind of literature has been read to you at one point in your life career. And we met with a number of nice and fresh examples, people, kind of reading across children's literature, remembering very vividly what they have read or what they have been exposed to. Remember, we spoke about all those things. Today, inshallah, we're continuing with the effort, and we're starting the course proper, like I'm saying. We're starting with Tom's Midnight Garden. We spoke a bit about what uh, uh, Tom, Tom, Tom's, Tom's Midnight Garden is all about in terms of plot. So, and I left you hoping against hope that you're going to do some reading, which I am sure you did, whether on the level of approaching the text. I know the text can be bulky, can be long, but if for some reason you cannot finish within the very limited time that I set for you, you can pick up a good summary and get yourself acquainted with what happens, when and where and by whom. So, have you done any of that? Those who have started perhaps reading the text itself, raise your hand. Yeah, so Sufana did. Nice. Okay, anybody else? Okay, Dana did. Dana, are you reading the text itself, or perhaps a good summary?
I read your summary, Doctor.
My summary? Did
And
I?
not the summary on LMS, I think. Yeah, on LMS.
There is one on LMS. Okay, that's nice. I'm sure it wasn't handwritten by me. Perhaps we have taken it from somewhere, right? I thank you so much for that, yeah, Dana. How about Budur?
I read a summary from the internet.
Nice. Okay. Okay, good. Okay. So it's a children's literature book. And when we talk about children's literature, because now the lines are very blurry between what is children's literature and what is not, in terms of at least the readership, where traditionally you would expect children's literature to be consumed and read by uh, only children, but not anymore, I promise you. Um, Children's literature is read by everyone, the entire household, and for the simple reason that the concerns and the issues are no longer on and about and for children exclusively. I mean, there is more to children's literature than what meets the eye in terms of complexity, in terms of nuance, in terms of um, again the issues that this genre is now addressing. Okay, so I need somebody to come to the mic and share the story line or the plot so that even those who are not doing themselves a service by perhaps going out of their way and reading. They can listen, they can know what the plot is about, so that when we talk about the technical parts, they can make and connect the dots. Okay, so let's start with Sufana.
Good morning, Doctor.
A very good morning to you.
So the story revolves around a character called Tom, who is a young boy. At the beginning of summer, supposedly was supposed to spend it with his brother building a garden house, but unfortunately his brother fell into measles, and he had to be isolated to go live with his aunt and uncle, who live in a flat in a large house. So the house is categorized in flats. There he discovers a garden that only appears at a certain time at midnight. And then the story unfolds where he meets I would say, almost like a protagonist,
Yeah.
Hattie,
Mhm.
and different characters, and the plot revolves around him and Hattie until the final end of the story. I don't know, should I say the plot twist at the end, where one of the flat attendants turns out to be Hattie. The old woman, Mrs. Bartholomew, turns out to be Hattie.
Yeah,
That's
that's
the basic main
interesting.
plot.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for that. This is, of
Well,
course, the surface level, right? This what meets the eye, right? But obviously, there is more to it than just the storyline. Okay. Okay, so like I said, this is a novel, and all the elements of the novel apply here, where we have characters, we have a plot, the plot that Sufana has given us, we have setting in terms of time and place, we have, of course, themes and ideas and issues, and we have point of view, perspective, from which point of view things are narrated. And what is perhaps those who have read, what is kind of um strange or weird about those who are into reading, whether you're reading mainstream literature or children's literature? What is it that you found perhaps striking, strange, weird, perhaps in a positive way? Um, yeah, I need other people to engage. I mean, we're not taxing or judging. So come to the mic and share your thoughts and ideas, because that would count towards the 5 attendance and participation marks that you will badly need towards the end. Remember that you're graduating, ya jamaa. Okay, so come to the mic and share fresh ideas and thoughts. You don't have to agree with us. You don't have to have viewpoints and world views that would align with ours. No. Okay, it's a free space, and I would like everybody to contribute and participate. Yalla, Suvana.
last class you mentioned the title, and that stuck with
Mm,
me. When I
mm,
was reading the story, I kept going back to the title. Why is it Tom's Garden, not Hattie's Garden? Because
mm.
the whole story revolved mostly around Hattie and her life going through childhood to adulthood.
You mean, are you implying that Hattie, it's Hattie's material? Had it not been for Hattie's life story and the struggles that she underwent and the suffering that she has gone through, we wouldn't have material for the novel to proceed, for Tom to learn from. Do you
Yes,
agree with that?
yes.
Yeah.
For
Okay.
me,
So
I
she's
felt like she was.
so let me, because I
Yes, yes, sorry.
I don't know. It's a thought. I mean, it's a flash that came to me. So let's ask the question: is Hattie a tool, a technical novel tool that the writer is using to further her ends, or or his, I mean, are we talking about a man or a Philippa? Philippa is a woman, right? Is she a tool or a catalyst? You know the difference between being a tool and being a catalyst? Which of them is more active? Which of them is about change, effecting changes? Being a tool or being a catalyst? What do you think? I'm asking a general question. When I say, for example, that AI is a tool, and some other people would say, no, it's a catalyst. What do
A
you think?
catalyst, I would say, because it's
Hmm.
like a motivator.
Yeah, which means that she effects changes. Had it not been for her, nothing would have happened, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Go on if you have something more to share with us, Yusuf.
All of the characters in the story in her memory, if we would say,
Hmm.
nobody could see him except for Hattie and the gardener Abel and the
Hmm.
birds in the trees. It made me question why exactly was Abel able to see
Yeah,
Tom
that.
compared to
Mhm.
the others.
Yeah, and also the fact that at one point you would think of Hattie, or perhaps he himself would think of her as a ghost, because
Yes,
conversely, he is the only one who has access to Hattie and can see Hattie, right?
yes,
Okay. Okay, so when we have ideas about ghosts and phantoms, that that would take us where? We're talking about the supernatural. We're talking about this. Um, yeah,
romanticism.
not really. And romanticism in what? Um, yeah,
Because
when
it,
you talk about the occult, the strange and the weird,
yes,
right? This is,
mm,
yeah, this is romantic. Not romantic in the modern
feeling.
or
Yes,
the,
yes,
yeah, yes. And also, I mean, so we're talking about the fantasy, right? We're talking about
yes,
the imagination. Okay, so simply because you're talking also about a magical garden, right?
yes.
And with magic, you have to suspend your disbelief when you talk about time. So, how many kinds of time do we have in the novel, for example? You would have linear time, linearity, where we're moving from the past to the present to the future. And you would have also non-linearity. But the the solid fact is that we live in the world. We are ruled by the rules of the world. And what are the rules of the world? Is the world about linearity or non-linearity? Do we know where we're headed from now, tomorrow, next year? I mean, 15 or 20 years from now, 15 years from now? Do we know when it comes to linearity, moving from the past to the present to the future? Is it definite? Is it inevitable, in other words, when we talk about linearity? Or,
Yes, time will keep
yeah,
moving on,
yeah,
linear.
yeah, and sadly so. And we know the eventuality, what will happen, right? Sometimes we try to kind of escape, not escape, to evade thinking about it, the idea of where we will be like 100 years from now. I'm sorry, this is very pessimistic, right? Perhaps this is one of the takeaways. You have to come to terms with your eventuality, with the inevitability of death, for example. And this is perhaps, if you have read the novel well enough, you will know that this is one of the takeaways when we talk about Tom. Tom learned that he became mature before maturity hurts him, because physically he is the same. This is one of the lessons that he learned, that you cannot cling to the past. You cannot live in the past. So obviously, the magical garden was about the past, right? Because where did the magical garden take him? Where did he go? Did he
To
go
the
to the
past.
future? Yeah, he went to the past, all the way to the past. Which kind of past?
Hattie's past.
Yeah, which is specifically what period? Which
50
period?
or 60 years
Yeah,
ago.
we're talking about the perhaps the Victorian age.
Yes.
And what does the Victorian age represent for the Britons? Is it a good time or a bad time? It was a good time, and we're talking about the empire when the British Empire was in its heyday, in its peak. They had imperial positions in India, in Egypt, in the Americas, right? They were high and mighty, right? So this is harking back to a glorious, let's say, green world, right? So, but this has to come to an end at one point, right? When Hattie um, stopped perhaps growing because she grew old enough to turn into Mrs. Bartholomew, right? When she decided that she is pulling out of the whole thing, the whole fabric of the garden collapsed, and the garden was no more. You remember that, right?
Yes.
Speaking of journeys, and this is perhaps personal, and this is perhaps what I start with always when we talk about Thomas Midnight Gun. This is because something that you're going to listen to or hear when you go back to my past recordings last semester and the semesters before. The idea of where, if you're given the opportunity to fly back or forth, you were let's say that the Arab Open University is kind of having a journey or a trip to the past or to the future, where would you like to go? Would you like to go with us to the past or perhaps go with the other people to the future? And it's subsidized, I promise you.
To the future. I'd like to go to the.
Okay, so Dana is going to the future. She's going to tell us in a minute why she has chosen the future. Who else is going with us to the past?
I'm with Dana. I would go to the future.
Okay, so you will have to yeah you will have explanation to do in a minute. Who else is going to the future? You have to go somewhere, يا جماعة. The rest of our colleagues have to choose. Is it the past that you want to go to or the future?
I'm in a rough position right now because
Hmm.
I'm a new mother. So
نعم؟
I would like, I'm a
Yeah, go
new
ahead.
mother.
Which
I just
means that
gave
you're
birth.
yeah, which is you
So I
would
want to go to the past and the future, both.
لا ده
Just to
طمع ده
escape this
no,
situation.
you're
Yeah.
given one Nagwa, you're given one choice. It's either the past or the future, and you'll tell us why.
The future.
Okay, nice, good. I don't know, I'm not judging, I'm just okay, who else is with us؟ يعني احنا عم بنلعب لعبة ظريفة you don't even want to play with us يا جماعة say something.
I'd like to go to the future.
Okay, so Nana wants to go to the future. Okay, nobody wants to go to the past. Okay. Okay, so those who are going to the future, tell us why. Why have you chosen the future and why you didn't choose to go back to the past? Because the past could be a glorious age. It can be even your childhood. If your childhood was nice enough, you want to revisit. You know, you have all those nice smells of your um, grandmas cooking certain kinds of food. the aroma, going back to the countryside where perhaps your grandparents used to live, a glorious age in our history as Arabs or Muslims, visiting a personality from history, somebody that you look up to and you have always wanted to live during the time he or she lived. But this is the future for me. Doesn't have to be traumatic and bad and everything in between, right? So I'll ask you the question again.
Doctor,
Yeah, Nadwa.
I thought you meant only our past.
No, it
But if
can
you
be,
meant
yeah.
that way, I would like to live with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, actually.
Alayhi salatu salam. That's a good choice. Anybody else? Because I have clarified it. Right. Okay, so let's talk to people who have chosen the future. Let's start with Dana. Why do you want which part of the future is it? 10 years from now, 25 years, the far future, 100 years from now?
Like maybe 10 years from now,
Hmm.
maybe. Because
Okay.
you mentioned the university. Like you want to see the university in the future or the past. And I want to see the university in the future. Like, did it evolve? Is it still the same? Did it get bigger?
Bigger in terms of what?
Like bigger, like building wise, bigger, and
You-
like
You're talking about the future of universities or the Arab Open University?
the Arab Open University.
Hmm. That's
Yeah.
very uh, very altruistic. I mean, يعني of all the futures that people can think of, you're thinking of the Arab Open University. MashaAllah. Yeah. That's interesting. Okay. Let's have somebody else. Sufana, you wanted to go to the future.
Yes. I
Mm,
believe we've already experienced the past, and it
mm,
is sentimental in the way that it is. Revisiting it again takes away from the pleasure of the past.
mhm.
I would like
So,
to go to the future.
yeah,
Skip to the end of the life.
I mean, you're trying to perhaps fly away from the here and the now.
Probably, yes.
Mm. You're not, you don't want to, perhaps you're not harking back to a time when things were simpler in the past, things were greener, things
To be
were,
honest, I think
yeah.
things are simpler and greener at the moment. They weren't at the
Mm.
past.
You mean it depends on which past you're referring to. I'm not talking about traumatic pasts because we all have our past, and
Yes, of
some
course.
some of our pasts are nasty and bad. And I'm talking about time periods where or when life was better. I mean, people were nicer. Um, what do you think?
Where would you say that would be?
I don't know. I don't. I
I
need to
don't think
think.
there's a time that I could live except at this current time.
You mean you're so kind of happy with the moment?
Yes, exactly.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's a very nice mindset and attitude towards life.
Thank you.
Okay, so again, you're giving us your reasons as why you don't want to go back to the past, and you live in and for the moment, right? How about the future? You also said that you want to go to the future. To do what?
At the end of my life, skip it all.
Um, I'm not sure. I'm not sure I understand. Can you elaborate?
I would skip to almost the end of my life to just see how far I've come and where I've
No.
accomplished in my life.
But don't you realize that you can predict the future, your own future from now, because you are what you make of your future, obviously. I mean, whatever efforts you put and stuff, right? You can almost tell how and what the trajectory of your life will be in perhaps 15 years.
Yes,
It
hopefully
starts
so.
now, right? Mm, okay.
But the thing is, the world is never predictable.
Yeah, and that's it. All starts with you. It starts and ends with you, right? We're
Yes.
talking about skills. We're talking about attitudes and mindsets, and they can all make all the difference. Anybody else? Somebody else said that he or she wants to go to the future.
I
Mm.
did.
Nagwa is not interested in the future anymore. Uh,
I am
yeah.
still interested in the future
Mm,
though,
okay.
because I just want to see my daughter
Mm,
when she's all grown up. I want to see
mm,
how things will go with her, and I would like to see if I had another like kids, because
inshallah.
I feel like that's the last one I. But
No, no, no,
maybe I will
no.
decide in the future. I'm not sure.
La, inshallah, you will have a very nice, promising future for you and for your kids. It's very strange that nobody spoke to me about the future, um, and yeah, of course you're following what is happening with AI and what is happening with when we reach stages like what do they call it? They call it um,
Virtual reality.
no, we're already we're having virtual reality. This is not what uh, yani people like me and perhaps you and everybody else are concerned about. Where they have something called uh, super intelligence and general intelligence, and they say that we're already in the era of general intelligence. I don't know what the first word is. I mean, they have, I think it's AGI or something. It's artificial general intelligence, where they are approximating the mind of the human being, and they're saying we have gone beyond that. And this is obviously very scary because it's going to make lots of people redundant. You will have tools that never relent, they never tire, they never ask for a break, and this is not very good news for human beings, at least because we haven't developed as fast in terms of skill development and stuff. I thought that you guys, perhaps you haven't read about AI enough. Perhaps you
I'm
haven't read.
actually having other concerns about this topic,
Mm,
actually.
mm. Yeah,
I know
it's
it's right now it feels like it's a silly thing to say, but it's heading towards that direction. I feel like the virtual intelligence will end up يعني how to say this uh, taking over the world. Uh,
mm,
and I feel like right now it's a silly conversation. People are taking it not too seriously, but it is actually going towards that. And that's why I didn't talk about this, because I feel like it's not a positive point of view of life to talk about things like that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Not talking about them means that we're perhaps we're denying, we are in denial about the existence of those forces.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
yeah, and this is not good news because there has to be some kind of يعني conversation about it. People have to, first of all, get educated about what is happening because the conversation is now hijacked by those techies, Sam Altman and the guy of Facebook and Microsoft and Anthropic and the guy in Anthropic and the guy in Nvidia, and that's all technical. And they are obviously promising us the world, and then they come and say that there is going to be some time where we are going to suffer a little, and then there is going to be this what they refer to as radical abundance. And I'm not trying to scare you, but I would like you to read into that. Again, this is how I think of the future. It might be bleak a little bit, but we have the right to know what is happening in
Also, can
those.
I share something else?
Yeah,
It's about that there are right now um, uh, just studies about eternity, and it's weird and scary in a way, but for me, I feel like when will the human being lose its humanity when you decide to change everything about the human body into robots? Like, what's the changing point? When will it not be human anymore?
yeah. I mean, it's actually we're moving between those edges. There is something called transhumanism, and you have superhumanism, of course, and um, those who have read perhaps Frankenstein and the idea behind Frankenstein, I think you may have done it in A230A, or you may not have done it and perhaps read it somewhere else. It's the idea of thinking of a perfect human being, but sometimes and for some reason things go um, out of they spin out of control and um, things go wrong, and like what happened with Frankenstein, because a creation cannot build or create another creation. It takes a creator, and we all agree that there is only one creator in the world, God, right? The one single God that we all believe in. This is perhaps the subject. I'm sorry I have taken you, but this is how I see or look at the future. Let's go back to the original question. The original question is about Tom and Hattie and their different roles, and whether they are rivals in terms of who has more claim to the title, right? And whether we would simply agree with the writer and settle for Tom being the titular hero. Yeah, this is perhaps yani, feministic, this is perhaps a feminist reading of the novel. Uh, okay, so it's again Tom's Midnight Garden that we're doing, and we're saying that it is partly traditional in the sense that you have all the features of a novel, and partly not conventional or traditional in the sense that you have certain elements that you wouldn't find in other novels. I mean, the idea of fantasy and the power of the imagination, again, the role of women, and obviously by women here, I'm referring to Hattie, and like I said, she is a catalyst rather than a tool. Had it not been for the material that she provides for the novel in terms of suffering, in terms of life experiences, and the losses that she had undergone, we wouldn't have had the novel, and Tom wouldn't have learned the lessons that he had learned at the end of the novel, right? So it's Tom's Midnight Garden, where at the center of the novel we have the magical garden, and we spoke about the garden. We said that this is no new. I mean, we had antecedents. We have novels that had gardens, that had magical gardens, and obviously Philippa Pierce is following those footsteps. So obviously, it's not about the garden as a tool, as much as about the garden or the magical garden as a catalyst. Most of the learning um, happens in the garden. Most of the experiences happen in the garden. Most of the memories and the recollections happen in the garden. It is through the garden that Hattie and Tom go all the way to the past. It is through the garden. I mean, obviously, the garden is the only entrance to this alternative reality that we have seen going all the way back to the Victorian era and the Victorian age. Um, so again, when we talk about time, we talk about this idea of actually we have two parallel types of time. We have linear time and we have non-linear time. Again, um, normally we start with linear time, but at one point the flight back to the past would move us to this idea of non-linearity. But what stays at the end? What stays at the end would be linear time, because this is the trajectory that we are all have, where we're moving from the past to the present and to the future, and there is no point of return unless you're talking about fantasy, where whatever is impossible is possible in the realm of fantasy. And Tom's Midnight Garden is a fantasy, make no mistake about it. So again, we start with linearity, where we have Tom moving from his parents' house to his uncle's house, and then things happen in the garden. And this is where linear time stops and non-linear time takes over, right? Where he goes back to the past, that he lives through the experiences with Hattie, and then he goes back to the present moment, and non-linear time stops, and then the trajectory proceeds. I mean, he moves from the point that he is in forward. Obviously, he will grow up. After he grows up, he knows where he is headed. So again, the stress here is the linearity of life, not its non-linear. Non-linearity is brief, and obviously it is kind of mixed with the imagination and fantasy, and it's normally nice. You don't you stop thinking of linearity when there are motivations for you to think of non-linear. Non-linearity is about dreams, and dreams are normally nice. Um, Going back to the past, and normally when we think of the past, we think of perhaps childhood and those fresh memories, and perhaps if we talk on the level of the countries that we live in, the nations that we're part of, and the cultures that we're part of, we think of glorious green worlds where there were great leaders and warriors and mythical figures, and okay, but this is obviously very momentary. This is obviously um, the stuff of dreams, if you like, but you need to come back to reality and realize that you have to move on, that you have to accept reality as is. And what is reality as is? That this trajectory towards the future. And then this idea of eventuality and the end of life. Make no mistake about it. Somebody was raising her hand. I think it was Najwa. Najwa, did you want to say something? Okay, perhaps I
No, I
can.
just had
Mm,
a question. Uh,
yeah,
what's the difference between catalyst and tool? Like when do we say that this character is a catalyst, and when do we say it's only a tool?
yeah. This is a very interesting question, and obviously, when you have a tool, it serves you. It does something, and that would be the end of it, right? It is its scope and its ability to do things depends on how big it is or how small for that matter. So its ability uh, to uh, s- to kind of affect depends on how small or big it is. This is a tool. It's dummy. It doesn't. It does what you use it for and nothing else. And when you talk about a catalyst, catalyst has in it the power to effect changes, and those changes are widespread. Again, I'll go back to my different. I mean, and when I started speaking about Hattie, and when we said whether you think Hattie is a tool or a catalyst, and we all agreed on the fact that Hattie is a catalyst. What did we mean? We meant that the amount of influence and impact that she left is enormous. If she was only a tool, I mean, her effect and her impact would have been limited. So the effect of a catalyst is so big, while the effect of a tool is so small. A catalyst is active, is instrumental, it can effect changes. A tool is, you know, is limited in impact. Okay, Sufan.
Doctor, can we say that Alan and Gwen are tools?
I mean, they are tools. But I don't want to carry the analogy of tools and catalysts too far or to extremes. Yeah, they are there. We don't want to kind of classify all the characters into tools and catalysts.
But it helps
Oh,
visualize, considering
yeah, but yeah, I mean,
Hattie is the
of course, if
catalyst.
yeah, if you think of them uh, um, in terms of perhaps how small the role is, if you compare
Yes.
that to Hattie's, obviously they wouldn't compare to Hattie. So Hattie is a catalyst, and they are tools. Yes, I agree. Yeah, very interesting conversation. Before I forget, I think I shared something before we started the class in the chat area. I would like you to go to the chat area and check what I left for you.
Doctor, can you
Did you
send it
check?
again?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sharing. Let me share my screen and you will see it for yourself. Now, this is not what I want, obviously. This is what I want. If you go to the meeting chat, you will have, can you see that?
Yes, yes, doctor.
Okay. So these are recordings from past semesters, and they are I went through them and I found them very interesting. Of course, every semester we may have the same works, but the compensation may differ because of you guys as catalysts. You decide um, the trajectory of the compensation, where it should go and what areas it covers. So you will find the compensations here are also very interesting. We offer perhaps different perspectives, and they all contribute towards يعني a very comprehensive understanding of the novel. So what I want you to do is I would like you, inshallah, I will find the time to go through those videos. Some of them are my videos, of course, or perhaps most of them, because these are recordings of past semesters, and some of them are AI generated, you know, documentaries, yeah, things that I did myself, like this one. This one is very interesting. It's it's about Tom's Midnight Garden. It's a comprehensive look at it. It's very interesting. This one. And this one is about time, the different types of time that we have in the novel, and it's called the mystical dance. And this one is about the power of the imagination. So you'll find them very interesting, I promise you. And this is all taken from my channel. This is my channel. And this, if you go to the playlist, as you can see, you have EA300B Summer. This is like a playlist that has all the recordings of the classes that I gave in summer, EA300B, of course. We also have the master classes, and remind me to set mutually convenient time for us to meet as of this week about master classes. So EA300B master classes. So these are the master classes, or perhaps the last master classes that I did. And then we have EA300B, another list. Perhaps this is the list that I was talking about. Okay, so you don't have an excuse not to start hitting this and read as much as you want, and study as much as you want, and then reflect on all of that with a pen or a pencil. Write things. And this is together with the podcasts that I generate using my videos. I think I have a bunch of them, and I'm going to share them with you. These are like Google AI generated podcasts that take like between 15 and 20 minutes, and they are also very interesting. Okay, so do you have any questions so far?
Doctor,
Yeah, go ahead.
this is Nofal Thibeti.
No, hi, how are you?
I'm doing well, Doctor. Thank you. الله يعطيك العافية. I didn't
You're
attend
keeping a low profile, yeah?
Huh?
You're keeping a low profile. How long have you been with us?
والله, I cannot talk about it right now, Doctor.
Okay, I mean, you came just now, or you were
Yeah,
here?
no. I think 10 minutes ago, but I didn't attend the previous class. I'm really sorry for that, but
That's fine. That's fine.
yeah,
Go
I
on.
couldn't.
You wanted to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Doctor. I just wanted to say I couldn't attend the previous class for some reason,
That's
and
fine.
I've joined the class 10 minutes ago.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much.
I really appreciate it, Doctor. Thank you.
No problem. So again, it's Tom's Midnight Garden. that we are starting with. Again, it's Tom and Hattie that we're talking about all the time. And through Tom and Hattie, we are introduced to so many ideas and so many issues. Some of those issues are, of course, universal. They apply to you and me and everybody else. And some of them are perhaps unique and they perhaps address as a certain sector of society. But the experience overall is about learning. It's about developing maturity beyond your age. You don't have to, you can be mature even if you're young. This is perhaps a myth that we need to debunk. You don't have to be 60 or 50 to be wise, right? And we have people who are perhaps older than that, but they don't show signs of wisdom. And we have small kids who kind of do stuff that you would only think of. Um, I mean, that you would think done by older people. Again, the wisdom, um, as we're going to see in Tom's Midnight Garden, um, um, is the wisdom of perhaps agony and suffering, the fact that people have to have trials and tribulations so that they can learn a lesson of two. Sometimes you don't have to be hit with disasters yourself. You can listen to other people. You can see other people having those kinds of things, and you feel for them. And out of this kind of empathy, you learn a thing or two. Because let's face it, what happened to Tom cannot compare under any circumstances with what happened to Hattie. Hattie lost kids, she lost loved ones, and what happened to Tom? The only thing that happened to him was that he was separated from his brother. And obviously, I'm not kind of belittling the bond that brothers and sisters have, but I'm saying that you wouldn't compare that to the idea of losing family and loved ones and all those kinds of things. So again, it is through Hattie's revisiting and retelling what happened to her that Tom is going to learn things. Again, it's about the linearity of life, the inevitability of suffering. I mean, perhaps you would agree that suffering is kind of, part of the human condition. And suffering comes in different forms and shapes. And whatever you may consider suffering, other people may not consider. It depends on the amount of suffering and whether it's psychological or physical, or it's very complicated. This is the nuance that the novel brings. It's not. It is true that it's children's literature, but like I said the other day, children's literature is more nuanced than we give it credit for. It's very complex. It addresses complex issues, and it's very subtle, um, and it's deep. We're going to stop on this note, and we'll take a 10-minute break. And when we come back, we continue this. So I'll see you in 10 minutes, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, so I'm back. You guys are here. Raise your hands.
Yeah, doctor. We are still there.
ممتاز. How about, yeah, okay, nice. Okay. طيب. So let's talk about the what is perhaps required here in this work and in the other works that we're taking. Again, we said that our starting point would be the the primary source, and the primary source would be the novel, would be the picture book, would be in other contexts you would have like poems, plays. These are all what we refer to as primary source, and this is our starting point. You wouldn't read a secondary source unless you have finished reading a primary source. So you read the text, you try to kind of process it, you try to come up with your own fresh ideas, and then you move to the next level and read the secondary source, whatever scholarly material there is on this or that work. Okay, so the idea of us reading a summary, and obviously this is not a very good practice for people to read a summary of a novel, because reading a summary would amount to reading a secondary source, because even when people summarize, they would have their own views and embedded in the summary. I mean, that's the idea of omitting something because it doesn't go with what you think. This is what summaries are. Summaries are biased sometimes, and so they would, to me, they would be some kind of a secondary source. But um, we don't have much time. Uh, um, I mean, for me to ask you to read a whole novel in يعني over the space of a week wouldn't be that practical, and even it wouldn't be doing you justice, given the fact that you may be busy with other courses, or some of us are already working and stuff. But um, the best thing would be for people to read the primary source. Like I said, you read it for yourself, you understand it, you come up with your own ideas and conclusions, and then you read the secondary source, which may perhaps back up whatever ideas you have thought of. It can give you fresh perspectives. It can perhaps take you to points that you didn't think of. Um, so Tom's Midnight Garden should be read, and then we go to the secondary sources, which is a number of articles, scholarly articles on the novel, addressing the power of the imagination, the idea of loss, the idea of dreams, the centrality of the character of Hattie. So these are all ideas that the secondary sources are targeting. Again, when you read the secondary source, it can influence your ideas. And this is uh, not very good, because it doesn't allow you the opportunity to think for yourself, to come up with your own conclusions. Um, but anyway, you will have to read the secondary sources in order to perhaps back up your answers. I'm talking about exams now. Again, you may read all the sources, but you may not need all of them. It depends, of course, on the question and it depends on I mean, remember when I told you that whenever we kind of assess an answer, it's normally about it's how comprehensive it is, how relevant it is, and how clear it is. So, reading secondary sources are very important, but it doesn't mean that you will have to use all of them in every single question. No. Of course, you know that one big thing would be the idea of relevance, whether you're relevant or not. It's not about showing me or your teacher, for that matter, any other teacher, that you have read. No. If you want to demonstrate something, you demonstrate the idea that you can sort out things, you know when to use what and at what time. Where are we going to find the secondary sources? You're going to find them all compiled in the book. I think it's the, let me check whether I have that. Yeah, I have. Let me share my slides. So you have a book called Children's Literature, Classic Texts, and Contemporary Trends. So this is the book that I'm talking about. I'm sharing. Can you see that?
Yes, doctor.
Yes, we
Okay.
can see your screen.
Okay, so if we're doing Tom's Midnight Garden, you will go to the articles on and about Tom's Midnight Garden. Where do we have that? This is the one. See? So Philippa Pierce, Tom's Midnight Garden, and then you have a number of essays. You have 3 of them. Loneliness, Dreaming, and Discovery, Tom's Midnight Garden. This is Margaret Rustin and Michael Rustin. And then Midnight Gardens, Magic Wells by Maria Nikolajeva. And then you have Tom's Midnight Garden by Rani, I'm sorry. So these are articles that you need to read and understand. We talk about them, but we don't talk about them in a direct way. We don't kind of open the article and start reading it line by line. You will find the ideas embedded in what I'm saying. And if you read the articles and you discuss Tom's Midnight Garden, you're going to be uh, influenced by some of the insights and the ideas in there. There is obviously nothing wrong with that. Again, if you are starting in the right way, and the right way would be reading the novel, coming up with ideas, and then going to the secondary sources to consolidate those ideas, or perhaps look at new perspectives and new ways of looking at the novel. Somebody's raising her hand. Go ahead. Yeah,
Doctor,
Dan. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
couldn't the book on LMS, CLMS. Can you please share it on the chat?
Yeah, I can share it.
Thank you, doctor.
You're welcome. I think it's also in did you check the central LMS? I'll share it anyway, but I'm just curious.
I went through the central LMS. I couldn't
Mm.
find it.
So it's not
I
there, huh?
videos and audio.
Okay. Let's see. For some reason, it doesn't get dragged and dropped unless I like go new. And then we have think. Let me check how I can do that. I'll stop sharing and then again go here and then attach a file and then upload. Say, wait. So it is loading. I think you have it now. Have you check?
Yes, doctor. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's there. Yes. I think we can also kind of share stuff on the WhatsApp group that Savannah created. Savannah, I'm sorry. Are we all part of the group yet? Sufana, can you share the link to the group or yeah,
Yes, of course.
yeah, please share it in the chat area. Yeah, it's there. Can you see that? Okay, طيب. So what do we use the WhatsApp group for? So we use the WhatsApp group for lively discussions. If you have ideas that you would like to share with us on and about the works that we're doing, if you have questions, if you have thoughts and insights that you would like to share with us, you can do all of that. We can engage in a very nice discussion about the topics and the ideas. Sometimes people browse and go to YouTube and they might find something relevant and interesting about this or that work. It wouldn't harm if we share it on the WhatsApp group. So let's make it interactive, let's make it lively. Um, and this way we can the conversation that we start here uh, will go on and continue in the world. I don't mind that as long as we're asking the right questions and it's not all procedural. When is what? You don't ask me about other courses, for example. You don't ask me um, about the graduation ropes and the graduation party and stuff that I'm remotely familiar with. So as long as it is substantial, as long as it is relevant, we're doing a good job. Okay. طيب. This has taken some time, but it was well worth it. Setting the rules of engagement right from the very start is not bad at all. Again, it's Tom's Midnight Garden, everyone. It's issues and ideas like the power of the imagination. It's issues and ideas like the centrality of the character of Hattie. It's issues and ideas like life lessons and maturity and what does Tom stand to learn from the whole experience? And is the Tom that we meet at the beginning the same Tom that we meet at the end? Um, does a lot of water go under the bridge, like they say, or is he the same? Does he show dynamism? Does he have a capacity for change? Judging from what we know about him at the beginning and what we now know about him at the end, these are questions that you should be asking yourself. Hattie and her centrality and her importance, the idea of memory and the idea of loss, why of all the time periods, why did Philippa Pierce choose, why did she choose the Victorian age of all the ages? And also why the novel was written in the first place. There are obviously two reasons. One is private and the other is perhaps uh, public and not very private. The private one was the fact that she was trying to relive uh, her childhood when they used to live in a big house with gardens, with a tree in the middle and stuff like that. She is referring to this incident when, at one point, her family decided to kind of sell their house and the trees inside, and how this or that had left a scar, perhaps in her heart. She was not happy. So the novel is a reenactment and reimagining of a once upon a time past, a past that she harks back to, lovely and green and everything in between. So this is the personal reason why she wrote the novel, and there is obviously a more, perhaps national reason, if you like, where, like everybody else, um, the novel was written after the Second World War, and of course, England came out of the Second World War. It is true that they emerged victorious, but they emerged victorious at the expense of demolished infrastructure and um, obviously what caused this kind of uh, I would call it incomplete victory was the miscalculations of Hitler himself. Had it not been for the miscalculations of Hitler, they would be speaking German now. So people realized that. And they realized that victory does not guarantee food on the table, enough jobs, enough, safety and security. So life after the Second War in Britain was not that beautiful. the government did not um, make good on so many of the promises that it made before and during the war. So people were disillusioned and were disheartened with what is happening, and the novel came to uh, express that. The idea that uh, Pierce chose the Victorian age, which is perhaps was like a couple of generations earlier, is very significant. Obviously, we're talking about the Victorian age, this time of the imperial peak when England or Britain had colonial possessions everywhere. They were obviously very wealthy. They had the money, they have the power, they have everything. Education was at all-time high. Literacy levels of literacy were soaring. So this was, a nice time to live. Um, so perhaps this is how Pierce uh, envisions England. It's something that she and other people expected but never materialized, never happened. Again, the government promised them the world, but the reality was different. Um, so this is also very important. That novel was perhaps a reaction to the sad reality on the ground in Britain during the time. Again, of all the times, the reference was to the Victorian age. Of course, the Victorian age was not all honey and milk, but at least, a substantial part of the population were enjoying a decent kind of living where they can secure their needs and a dash extra. So this is very important. When you read a work, you need to also read through the context, see what was happening during the time, and perhaps some of the motivations for the writer to write the novel. Um, so these are some of the ideas. The problem is that I need people to read the text. And this is something that we haven't seen today. Not so many are even raising their hands. We don't even know whether they have read or haven't read. So I'm still giving you the opportunity to read the text and to connect the dots and come up with your own fresh ideas before we proceed with the secondary sources. So for next time, and this next time is going to be this week because we're going to have a master class. I would like you to have done some reading. You have to have done some research so that you can have questions, you can have insights about the novel. Um, Normally, we have the master class on Thursday, but I think Thursday is too far, and sometimes people are also busy and doing other stuff. This time around, we're doing it on Wednesday. So when we need to think of a mutually convenient time on Wednesday, and I don't mind if we do it late at perhaps 4, if 4 is convenient. So what do you think? Wednesday at 4 p.m. Would that be convenient?
For me, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Fine. Right. So it's Wednesday at 4 p.m. and I'll post that on. I would like somebody to post it on the WhatsApp group, and also if you guys have like a general WhatsApp group that has other EA300B classes, I would like you to kind of share the news because master classes are not limited to our class, so it's not exclusive. We have other classes attending. So I'll create a link to the new master class, and I'll share it on the WhatsApp group, and also I'll send it to your emails. I mean, I have your email addresses, and I would like you to check that. I finished what I wanted to kind of share with you today. If you have any questions, come to the mic and share. Okay. So I take it that you guys don't have any questions. So on this note and with this item, we come to the end of today's lovely class. I'll see you on Wednesday at 4 o'clock, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you, Doctor.
You're welcome.